Mic check. 1, 2. Are we recording? Hi, I'm Michelle Bernstein, an award-winning chef, restaurateur, and mom. I have a lot on my plate, including my psoriatic arthritis symptoms. That's why I was prescribed Cosentyx. It helps me move better.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for people 2 years of age and older with active psoriatic arthritis. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some were fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at 1-844-COSENTYX or Cosentyx.com.
Ask your rheumatologist about Cosentyx.
This is Cop Talk, talking crime, cases, and backing the blue. Now, here are your hosts, Captain Ed Mehmet and Detective Kevin Schroeder.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cop Talk. My name is Kevin Schroeder, retired NYPD detective, and I'm here with my co-host, Captain Ed Mamet, retired from NYPD.
Hello, Cop Talk listeners. We're here for another episode of Cop Talk.
So today our guest is Vince Champion. Vince is the Southeast Regional Director of the International Brotherhood of Police Officers. It's a union representing the Atlanta police officers, among others. We're going to touch on the Atlantic Public Safety Training Center today, which is really AKA Cop City. And so, Vince, welcome, Vince.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you for coming. So, Vince, could you please tell our audience a little bit about yourself, where you were a police officer, how you got started and involved in the union?
I retired from the city of Ormond Beach, right outside of, in Florida, right outside of Daytona. I spent 22 years on the road, went all the way through everything I could. Then while I was there, I became, as a union member, had some friends had some issues. Command staff wouldn't listen. I became the union president for my local there. Then I became the president for our local in Florida. And then I moved up to national once I retired. In unions, the main thing is, everybody needs representation. Police officers are some of the ones that need it the most. And I just felt this is my way to continue giving back to law enforcement after retirement, is to become a union representative for a national organization.
Okay, so your position is actually you're retired. Is it retired?
Yeah, I'm retired from City of Ormond Beach. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Police officer.
And your Brotherhood Union, what other police officers do they represent besides Atlanta?
Well, we have the Fulton County Sheriff's Office, which is here in Atlanta. We also have the county, of course, that Atlanta's in. We have the Lawrenceville Police Department in Georgia. We have Dothan, Alabama. We also represent Flagler County Sheriff's Office in Florida. We have Boise, Idaho. I represent Boise, Idaho. We have different agencies throughout different cities that we represent. My counter also represents some of the northern unions up in Massachusetts, Connecticut, things of that nature. So we are a national union.
Oh, okay. And now do you actually do the contracts as well with the cities and the police department?
Yes, sir. For the cities that have them, state of Georgia, they don't have contracts. Florida does, so we're able to do those. Any place that, they have the collective bargaining capabilities, then yes, I negotiate the contracts.
Oh, okay. Great. Yeah, here in New York City, we have police unions, and then we have the FOPs as well, city, state, and national level. Okay, so basically, we're here to talk about the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center, so AKA, also known as Cop City. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that, the history of it, and what's going on?
Well, they've been planning a new APD used to be in their training facility was they took over old elementary school. It served its purposes for the while. It was just an older building. It was costing a lot more to keep up. And, they lived with it as long as they could, but then they needed to find another place to do training. So they had this, it's been in the works for many, many years, at least 2 mayor cycles that I know of, possibly up to 3. But they were just looking for a better place to do training and something that can be used by not only APD, but other law enforcement agencies. And they also then got together and wanted to bring the fire department in also, so it can be a multi-training facility. And they came up with this training facility. They had the property already. City of Atlanta did. So it went from the drawing board into, reality. So they thought, and they've now in a school, actually, it's a trade school, which is nice of them to put them in there, but they just needed the facility. So they sat back, looked at it and asked, what could they do? What do they need? And that's when they came up with this, state-of-the-art facility that'll have realistic buildings in it, such as apartments, convenience stores, gas stations, things that put officers into real life situations before they actually get into real life situation. And we all know one of the jobs that other than being a motor officer that I enjoyed the most when I was working was a training officer. For the last 7 years of my career, I was in the training officer position and one of the best officers there. And, we function how we train. So APD has actually put that to practice, and they're building a facility that will do exactly that. These officers will actually be training the way they will be policing out on the street.
If the location has been used for over 50 years and it's well known, why is it suddenly a problem?
That's the $1 million question. If you look at it started out, of course, everybody saying about who's actually there now, causing all the issues about the landscaping and stuff. But APD's gone out of their way to use some of the green space. They were going to put in parks in the facilities, ball fields, nature trails, things of that nature that they to try to take that. They're taking 85 right now. I think it's about 85 acres that they're using of something like over 300 acres that are in that area that the city actually owns. So we don't know what the real problem is. What we're being told, of course, and everybody's seeing is the actual, they're saying it's for the environment and tearing up the trees and things of that nature. And, don't know how true that is, but that is what we're being told. The other issue that I don't seem to understand is a lot of people are talking about these days that we need more training for law enforcement and better trained cops will make, the streets safer and better. Well, that's what we're trying to do here is build a facility that will do exactly that. Put better officers out there, get them better trained, but people are trying to prevent us from doing that. So I'm not really sure. I don't really know how to answer your question other than that's what we're being told, that it's an environmental thing.
Well, given that, how does the city of Atlanta take back control of the site, of the project?
Well, and that's what they're trying to do. Of course, they've got officers that are there manning it. The state, the Georgia State Patrol, the local, the other adjoining county and city, DeKalb, they're assisting. Unfortunately, the actual meetings of how they're coming to that decision and what they're doing, I'm not privy to, so I don't exactly know what their thought process is. But what I do know is that every man and woman officer that are on the street is in favor of this. The city's in favor of this. The council is in favor of this. The mayor is in favor of this. So I'm assured that they're going to do everything they can to make sure that this goes through, and whatever that takes at this point.
Well, what that
is, I don't know.
Well, what if it results in the potential for disorder? Will the city do what they should be doing and put it down to disorder?
Yes, I think, especially the last time, the last one that just happened, the chief is he's been very, very clear that this is not going to be tolerated. Our governors even stepped in and made comments that, this is not going to be tolerated. So I believe, at least from what we're being told and the directions that we're given, that the local and state officials are going to make sure that this happens, and they'll do whatever it takes to get it built. And at the end of the day, what it takes is, and what they're doing is just enforcing the laws when these individuals decide to break them. And as long as, they keep breaking the law, our officers and command staff and everybody will make sure that they're arrested, and as if anybody else would be.
Yeah, I found most interesting is during my long career in the New York City Police Department, we've had just the opposite occur. When the police department was looking to close down police stations, there were demonstrations against closing it. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, it's surprising, like I said, how these things have changed. The interesting part here is the public, at least the greater Atlanta public, doesn't have an issue with it. And even in this last thing that happened where they had multiple arrests, there were really only 2 people from the area that would really, you could look at and go, okay, well, maybe you don't like it because of whatever your reasoning is. But this is one of the first times that I've seen that kind of everybody, community, command staff, state, local officials, everybody's saying this is a good thing, but we're having to argue, really having issues with people that are from out of the area that don't even really know what it's all about.
Vince, now I believe the training center, it's now a national symbol for both cop haters as well as, supporters of law enforcement. If this is not built and it doesn't work out, if it doesn't go through and it's stopped, I believe it'd be a big blow to law enforcement throughout the country.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think that is a true statement. And it's nothing that the city wanted to be in that position, but they're here now. And it doesn't appear that the city, like I said earlier, are going to bow down to these, terroristic attacks or attacks upon something that there really isn't any downside. If you've got a problem with it, come and explain it. Talk to the council, talk to the mayor, sit down and go from there and say, these are why we don't want it, and see if you can do anything. Because like I said, the city's answered a lot of the questions that you would think people would have as far as, they're following all the guidelines that everyone else has to follow when you build a building, how you have to put the trees back and do all that. They're putting space aside to have people to be able to come to be in the area. The community is, as far as I know, the community, it's almost like an open line to talk to the city officials to put in their input about this facility. So the city has been as transparent as they can be for what this is for. And that's it. And it for all the saying the rumors of this is going to be some nefarious place or anything, it's not. It's a place to train not only APD.
So good, so good, so good.
New markdowns up to 70% off are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. And that means thousands of can't-miss deals just in time for summer.
The denim section is unreal.
Why do I rack? All the dresses.
I always find something amazing.
Plus, buy it online and pick it up in-store the same day for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
Your snacking routine can get a little dull. Time for a light and fit remix. Like a crunchy storm of graham cookies, caramel pearls, and dark chocolate, showering down into a smooth, creamy yogurt. Enjoy 3 light and fit remix varieties with craveable flavors and up to 120 calories and 10 grams of protein per 4.5-ounce serving. See remixyogurt.com.
But they're reaching out to the whole state of Georgia. Some of these agencies, and coming from a bigger agency, you theoretically you have more finances, you have the ability to do things. But we've got a lot of smaller agencies, 40, 10, 30, 50, 60-man departments that their budget isn't as big as APD. But if they can go to this facility and get the training, again, it's not just better training for APD. It's better training for the whole state police officers that now can get there because it doesn't cost as much as it would for them to send them out of state to travel or to bring the training to them. And we all know that training budgets have always been hit. They're usually some of the first to go, unfortunately, when, budget cuts hit.
Do you know the idea of regional training centers is not a new one? New York State has them. The New York City Police Department has its own police academy, as you know. Mm-hmm. And many agencies from outside the city send people to get training. But upstate New York does have regional training centers. And in all my years, I've never heard of anybody complaining. That's what's surprising me as to why that's happening down where you are. And what I wanted to ask you, I wanted to state from my review of the project is it appears to be there are two groups, the environmentalists, or so they claim to be, and then you have the anarchists. Is there a third group?
No, those are the only two that they've been able to identify, and there's no other that we know of. And again, these anarchists, though, they're a unique group because with this last thing, they did this the last attack, I guess, for lack of a better word. They did this under the guise that there was a musical festival close, and then 100 plus of them, 150 from the music festival walking through and getting to the facility site, they were able to arm themselves with shields and weapons and change clothes. And then if you actually look at it, they started with fireworks to basically, get the officers off guard while you're doing that. Then they went to bringing in the Molotov cocktails and doing it, somewhere, somehow, at least those areas are apparently getting some type of training or somehow or another, they're getting the funding and different. And I don't understand how that is. And no one's been able to really say that, but these just don't appear to be people that all of a sudden decided, they're upset about this training facility and they're going to run over there and do something. This was well orchestrated and just we don't understand who the group is right now.
Well, we saw that in New York City during in 2020 after the George Floyd case, where these groups were well organized here in New York. They would appear with signs that obviously were made beforehand, and they appeared with the weapons. So we know that there are these organized groups out there, and I hope that the FBI is monitoring them. But another question I had, other than the anarchists being in the way and maybe the environmentalists, are there any legal constraints involved here to construction?
No, not that I've heard of. The permits, they're getting permits just like anybody else. There's been no, the city of Atlanta's owned this property for quite some time. I mean, they've done some training there, in the wooded area and things of that nature. So there's never nothing that has been reported to me that there's been any kind of legal issues or other than, the arrest made and stuff. Outside of that, to my knowledge, there are no legal issues at all.
Well, the polls show that the majority of the people support this project. I believe it was 48% for it and about 46% opposed. Am I correct?
Yes.
And is that enough support to get this thing going?
Oh, I think we've got that. I don't think the support for the, at least for what we can see in the poll and everything, I don't think the support to not continue working is ever going to be there. I think we're going to have the support to build this and continue. And the interesting part is the Atlanta Police Foundation is one of the main donators of finances and stuff. And they've, it's a private organization. They get donations and stuff. So that just shows that the community, and it's not just officers that donate, anybody can donate and go through that, foundation. So it just shows where they're at. As a matter of fact, even they're talking about replacing the hardwood trees and stuff that have been taken down. So it's just everything that could, it's almost like the city has tried to look at everything that maybe could be someone saying we shouldn't do it for this reason, that way. It looks like all the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, but we just have this faction that we really don't know what the issue is. And, I've seen things in the past, like you all have, where the community was against it. And that's never a good thing. You always want the community on your side, no matter what we're doing. And we've got that now. So like I said earlier, there's more for this than against it. And it appears at least the ones that, that APD's been able to arrest on this and the other agencies have been able to arrest and assist with were from out of the area.
Including France.
Yeah. I don't know what they care about.
That's what I was wondering. Why would someone from France be interested in what's going on in Georgia?
Yeah, I just don't. And I wish we knew, if it's something, just tell us what it is, be honest about it. What do you want? You just not want police officers? Because, you kind of get to the point, and my personal belief is, you just kind of get to that point because, we've tried to answer everything else. And even here, the community had given a list at one point of things they wanted changed. There were 10 different things. 9 out of the 10, the city of Atlanta was already doing. So that worked out fine. This has been brought again. The city's been transparent to the community as what's going on. Give them an open line to call. Tell us what's wrong. That's been done. All of that's been taken care of. But yet, do you just not? And then you talk about training, as I said earlier. We're about to build a state-of-the-art training facility, and now you don't want us to build it, whoever, they are.
Yeah. Is there a concern, Vince? Is there a concern that no matter what the outcome is, that the cop haters and the whack jobs out there will continue to, have a problem with this?
Yeah, that is a concern, and because we just don't know. I mean, first and foremost, you don't really know why. So of course, if we get it built and everything, there's always going to be that concern. Are these people going to come back? Are they going to wait to? And like your statement earlier, that this holds up a kind of a symbol in a way, which was definitely not intended, but it does. Is it now going to be a symbol that once it's built, then now we try to take it down again? And I know that's in the back of the minds of the council and the city. But again, the good news is they're not letting that waver, it doesn't appear.
Yeah, Vince, the cop haters will never be happy. We know that. Why doesn't the mayor just move on? Just be done with it and move on and get this done?
Well, I think pretty much that's what they're trying to do. I mean, I don't know that there's any hesitation. I have not had any of that. I think that the only thing, if there's any hesitation at this point, is trying to figure out how to better secure the facility and make sure that's taken care of. But as far as wavering from doing it, the mayor's never given indication to us and or, as far as I know, to the APD that he was going to waver in any way. So, but we all know anywhere else, getting things done is kind of slow when you go through the cities anyway. But I don't think this is one of those reasons.
Hey, Vince, you have these two groups, the environmentalists and the cop haters. But how do you know that the environmentalists are not disguised cop haters? Because we've seen that here in New York also. The radicals will claim that they are part of some legitimate group when they're really not. And I suspect that that's going on down where you are. So do you have any information in that regard?
Don't know any 100%. I do know, what I do know is that our officers, because of Atlanta being, the civil rights area, a lot of dignitaries come to the city and stuff. Our officers have a multitudes of, just like New York, the type of investigative experience and stuff they have. So those are things that not only with all of the surrounding agencies and stuff that they are looking into, is exactly who are these people? Who are they trying to, who are they trying to, infiltrate? Are they who they really say they are? So yeah, all the people that are looking into this is definitely trying to see if that's happening.
Well, Vince, thank you very much. Vince Champion, thank you for being on Cop Talk today and as our guest, and thank you for your time, and we wish you luck, and God bless, and be safe out there.
Great. Same to you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Bye.